Hello viewers from all around the world, welcome to Colour in Your Life. Today we have the absolute pleasure of introducing you again and chatting with the fabulous John Hulsey from Kansas, where I believe it's the snow and ice outside. We filmed John last year, and for me personally his use of light just was amazing. And I've been reading his book and learning so much, as I'm sure many of you viewers have. But I'll just hand over to Graham for a moment, and he can introduce John a bit better, and then we'll chat with him further to see how Colour in Your Life has impacted his life.
Yep. Well, thank you, Nat. John, welcome to Colour in Your Life and our little interview with you, a testimonial. Just wanted to briefly go some things with you and find out how you actually felt about everything. So fire away and tell me how you feel about us turning up to film you and what we were doing and how it's had an effect on your career and what you were doing as an artist. Yeah, go fire away from there.
Well, I've always been an independent artist and self-employed as an artist, so I wasn't willing to ever put myself, say, in the hands of a few galleries and just paint and not think about the business side of things. Mm-hmm. And I've been teaching for 38 years, so I've always had my hand in the process of keeping in touch with my mailing list and acquiring collectors and people who like to take classes and expanding myself out beyond what the galleries probably would be doing for you. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm a little different in that way, that I've always had control of that situation and preferred that control. I may have sacrificed some sales by not pursuing tons of galleries and trying to get in as many as possible. But on the other hand, I really like being my own gatekeeper and having control over my future and which direction I wanted to take it. Mm-hmm. And that's what interested me about Colour in Your Life. Mm-hmm. Was that you guys, well, to backtrack, I got interested in Colour in Your Life because one of the things I do is watercolor, and I follow the Australian watercolor painters, especially Joe Zvukovic, right? Mm-hmm. And I think I was searching around the internet for videos of Joe because I was getting ready to interview him for my own website. Mm-hmm. And came across CIYL. And thought, well, this is marvelous. I wish we had this in this country. It seems to me back then, it wasn't really a thing we could have here. Maybe you hadn't expanded or something, but it didn't occur to me to contact you guys at all, because I just assumed this was an Australian thing. Yeah. So I was aware of the program, and then when you contacted me, I thought, yeah, he's right. Video is not only the wave of the present and the future, but that's what people prefer. I've always done print advertising over the years. In fact, I'll even show you what one of my ads looks like. I do these a few times a year. So there's a full-page magazine print ad that costs about as much as your program. Yeah. And you know, as you were describing in your materials, you know, the ad's up for a couple of months and then it's gone forever. Mm-hmm. Whereas the program I do for you is up to infinity, hopefully. And yeah, it keeps building an audience. So that attracted me.
Yeah, even in mentioning Joe, I mean, obviously Joe's a world famous artist, as are yourself, but his numbers are approaching a million views. So, yeah. I mean, even if you were to just say people have watched it twice, that means that there's 500,000 people that have come in to watch Joe work. And the comments we get, even on yours, I mean, your numbers are climbing all the time as well, is that the people are just, they can actually get into John Hulsey's studio, which they could never possibly do under any circumstances before.
I can tell you one thing is that I did see an uptick in Facebook people asking to join my Facebook page and be a friend from all over the world, especially Asian addresses and artists, which I hadn't seen so much of before. So I think there is an impact out there when you're being shown in countries you normally aren't known at all. And then I personally have been using my copy of the program that I have on my computer and my Facebook page to promote my workshops, and did secure a new workshop up in Wisconsin for the summer at the Jack Richardson and Company manufacturing company, and they have a classroom and a big studio area where artists can teach. And by showing that to their education director, she was very interested in the painting knife idea and doing that as a demonstration in a class. So it was nice to be able to have that and use that, and that convinced her right away that this would be unique and a good class to have up there. So
yeah,
that was a good
thing. And that's sort of the part of the reason that we've put it together, is that, as we've discussed, the magazine ad really doesn't convey who you are, what your abilities are. It shows some pictures, but with the time that we spend with you, this becomes a marketing and promotional and advertising tool that you can basically send to the galleries, or obviously you sent that to Richardson's as well. And a lot of the artists use that these days to do exactly that. They get into trade shows a lot easier. And then somebody basically says, well, these guys are pros. They've got their own documentary about themselves. So it really does make a big difference on your presentation as not just as an artist, but as a businessman as well.
Yeah, and I take the long-term view. I don't expect that, it'll be a watershed moment or a breakout moment. It's nice if it is, but I didn't have that kind of expectation. My expectation is a long, steady build and expanding the audience worldwide in ways that I personally can't do even with my own YouTube channel.
Yeah, yeah.
So I saw the advantages of it right away, and the cost didn't put me off. And I felt that, if I couldn't come up with the money out of pocket, then I would find support for that, and then subsequently did. So it's all good, but I was using my CIYL program for a specific purpose, which was really not to sell paintings so much, but to alert people to my workshops. That's really why I was so interested in it, because we teach all year long in different places, both the United States and Europe, and I needed to expand that audience for that, and that is my goal through CIYL. And in order to reach that, of course, I'm constantly using social media to get that message out, and putting links up and reposting the show announcements and making different announcements about the show to share a different aspect of it. In fact, I just posted an announcement that we were doing this interview on Facebook just before you came on, to let people know that this is coming up, and you should also tune into that and see why it's interesting.
Well, we're so happy to film you. We really were, John. It was just wonderful, and your beautiful wife, Anne, such a charming couple and incredibly talented human beings. And one of the best studio setups I've seen in a while. Anne's on one side and John's on the other. I mean, I can just picture you as a fly in the wall with beautiful music going, and you wandering into each other's studio to have a kiss and a cuddle and then look at each other's work. It's just fantastic. It really was. And I have to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part and parcel of what we're doing. I think you understand that we're not going to stop. We're not going to give up. We're going to continue to grow this. There's just so many great things that are going on. And in the end, I mean, I've had a lot of artists just to say, do this. What, don't you get this? I mean, and in 5 years time, we'll still go past. 10 years, we'll still go past. You'll be there forever. Somebody's going to know about you in 50 years time.
Yeah. Well, I plan on doing another one.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Because for me, Graham, it's not just a business arrangement between us, it's a community. Because you are also an artist. You're working hard at your art, but you're also doing this for other artists. And I mean, I hope that someday it does pay off for you. But in the meantime, unlike a gallery situation, which can sometimes, be a little contentious at moments, I just feel this community feeling with you guys and working with you is we're all pulling on the same oars. And that's why I teach, is to give back to other people those lessons I learned just over the years,
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pleasure, sir. It absolutely was. And we'll be in touch again. And
nice to meet Natasha, too.
Nice to meet you too, John. And for all the viewers out there who've been watching, don't forget to put some colour in your life and subscribe to our YouTube channel, or go to www.colorinyourlife.com.au, and we'll see you next time. See you later.
Bye.